Hi everyone and welcome back to another BOOKMAS video. So in today's video I'm going to be letting Snapchat AI choose my Christmas read. I'm hoping that this will go as good as I've got in my head. I have done this video before but a non-Christmas version and probably about a year or two ago, and I had fun doing it, so I thought why not do it again. So let's just get on into seeing what Snapchat AI chooses for me. Okay, so I'm just going to say Christmas book recommendations. Let's just put that. If you're looking for some cozy Christmas reads, I recommend A Christmas Carol. Okay, I haven't read that one. The Polar Express, also haven't read that one. And Let It Snow by John Green, also haven't read it. Perfect. So already chosen 3 books for me. Amazing. So I am reading those 3 books within today's video. I thought it was going to take a lot longer than that, but AI knew how many books I wanted as well. So I'm very excited to dive on into options, as they seem to be ones that I wouldn't have personally chosen for myself, but I feel like that's what makes this interesting. So let's just get on into reading the books that Snapchat AI has just chosen for me. So the first book I decided to pick up from what Snapchat AI chose me was The Polar Express, as I didn't click on when I saw that AI chose it for me. But obviously this is like a children's book. This is like what I read when I was a child, and I didn't click on at all. But I did read it. And obviously it's a children's book. It's mainly pictures. It's like 32 pages, Goodreads says. I actually didn't remember this book in general until I saw it and I started reading it. I don't know, it just nothing clicked to me. It did not click to me at all. But I did read it, and honestly the illustrations in this book is crazy good. Like they were so interesting to look at. The story itself was so beautiful and it was beautifully written. I honestly wasn't expecting to love it as much. As soon as I realized it was a children's book, I was like, oh no, do I read it? I'm so glad that I did. I did rate it 4 stars, but it's just such a beautiful and beautifully written story, and I highly recommend it. Yes, it's a children's book, but I don't know, there's like an important message behind it which I love so much. And like I said, the illustrations in this was crazy, but it was like made it so interesting to read and to look at, and it's kind of a book that like you can just enjoy, you know, enjoy looking at the pictures, enjoy reading the story. And I would highly recommend this. Like it doesn't matter how old you are, read this, because it was actually really good and really interesting, and it surprised me so much. Like I said, I thought, oh, children's book, but then I was like, you know, I'm gonna read it anyway because AI chose it for me, so I've got to read it. I was surprised. To explain what this book is about, I'm going to quickly read the synopsis for you all. So it says, late on Christmas Eve, after the town has gone to sleep, a boy boards a mysterious train that waits for the Polar Express bound for the North Pole. When he arrives there, Santa offers him any gift he desires. The boy modestly asks for one bell from the reindeer's harness. It turns out to be a very special gift, for only believers in Santa can hear it ring. So see what I mean? It's such a beautiful and important story, and I really enjoyed this. And the way it ended, obviously I wasn't expecting, but it was so good. So yeah, the next one I'm going to read is The Christmas Carol. This one is also another short one. This is also like a classic, I believe, and one that I've heard a lot about, so I think I'm going to listen to the audiobook and maybe do some diamond painting or something. I'm not too sure, but I am excited to start this one because I've heard a lot of great things about this one before in the past. I just never thought to pick it up, so we'll see how it goes. So I finished reading A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, and I'm going to be honest, this is quite like a popular Christmas read. It's like something that most people read every Christmas. I was looking at the reviews and it's something that people love to read every Christmas, or it's something they've been reading like since they was younger and they're still reading it now. Like it's a constant reread for people, and that is amazing. But unfortunately for me, I haven't been able to rate this book because, and I have put it as a review as well, because I was listening to the audiobook for it because I didn't have like an ebook or a physical copy for it or anything for it. So I was listening to the audiobook, and I feel like because it's such like, it's an older book. When was this released? Like Goodreads says 1999, but I do believe it was it was first published December 17th, which is weird, that's my birthday, 1843. So it's obviously like a really old book, and so the writing style is obviously a lot older and a lot different, and me listening to an audiobook just completely, it was the wrong decision. I will definitely be rereading it one day once I have like an ebook or a physical copy or something, but I did put that I'm not going to rate it because obviously it's the audiobook, so I did get a bit lost within the story, and I found it hard to like keep track of what was going on, and so I was losing myself, and then I don't know what's happening. I didn't feel that it was fair to rate the book or give it any rating or really have an opinion about the book, because I do feel like I needed like the physical copy or an ebook in front of me while at least listening to the audiobook so that I could follow along with it, and I feel like that would have helped me follow along with the story a lot better. But I just struggled so much. Obviously I can't enjoy something where I'm constantly like, what's happening, I'm losing myself. I can't really enjoy a book like that because I just really did not know what was going on. I'm gonna be honest, I really couldn't tell you much about what this book is about. The only thing I really know from like reading other reviews is that like obviously the writing style is really good, that people love it, that they find it like a comforting read, that the story is a beautiful reminder of the spirit of Christmas, what the holiday represents, and how we can be more kind and mindful of our actions. And just the sound of that sounds so lovely and like such an important story. So I do want to give this another go one day, give it an actual chance, and I just wanted to point out that like I just don't feel like I should have an opinion or a rating on it because of this. I have also heard some people say maybe the audiobook isn't a good thing to listen to. They always like the physical copy, so I might even give that a go one day, just reading it. We'll see. I finished Let It Snow by John Green, and I actually really enjoyed this one. I rated it 4 stars, and after reading the book I actually watched the movie as well, and I really enjoyed the movie. Like, I didn't even realise that, you know, there was an adaptation for it until I was searching it and I saw it, and then I realised it was on Netflix. I was like, okay, well now that I've read the book I'm going to watch the movie, so I did do both. But obviously we're just going to be talking about the book today. This one shocked me. This one has never been on my TBR before. I have only read one John Green book, Put in Your Stars, and that was years ago. I just wasn't expecting to love this one as much as I did, and it just proves that sometimes you should let AI choose what you read, or someone else choose what you read, because you find things that you never would have picked yourself or you never would have loved. The Let It Snow is a perfect Christmas Eve or Christmas Day read, I think, because I was like, you know, reading this like cozy with like a Christmas forum on next to a Christmas tree and a tea, and it was just so cozy and such cozy vibes, and it was just perfect. And honestly, you need a Christmas Eve read or Christmas Day read, or you know, whatever, pick up this book, because I feel like it's just like the perfect vibes for like all that like coziness, and just the story itself, it's just perfect. I don't know how to explain it. It was just a vibe and I loved it so much. I would highly recommend that you also do that. Let It Snow features 3 different stories about the magic of Christmas, discovering true friendship, and falling in love in the most unlikely places. So the first book that is in there is Jubilee Express by Maureen Johnson, and this one was definitely my favorite out of the 3 stories. This one is about Jubilee and getting stuck on a train to visit her grandparents after her parents were arrested. Jubilee is so sure she has the perfect boyfriend and is leading the perfect life, but she's quickly realised how little interest her boyfriend actually has in her while she's away, and how the guy in front of her is so perfectly imperfect. This one was, like I said, definitely my favourite out of the series. It just felt a little more like coziest and just gave off the, you know, the better vibes, and I was more interested within the story and the characters, and I felt like this one was just done so well. Then we have the second book in the story, A Cheeristic Christmas by John Green, and this book is a story about a guy not realising his girl best friend, who's been one of the guys, is really the love of his life. And this is definitely like the cliche story that you find in books or even in movies. It's like the cliche thing where, you know, the guy has a girl best friend and doesn't realize that she's the one that's like the love of his life. It's a cliche story, but I still really enjoyed it, and I felt like it was done really well in this. Now, normally I'm not a big fan personally of reading from like the guy's perspective of things, and so when I started reading it and I realized it was in the guy's perspective, I was like, oh no, am I going to enjoy this? And I started thinking bad about it, but honestly it was done really well. I shouldn't have judged it as much as I did, because if I was going to rate these individually, the first one I probably would rate like 4.5. This one I would rate like 4.25. Like, that is how much I enjoyed it, and I obviously, like, I have heard that this is like some of people's favorites out of them, so yeah, it was definitely a very interesting one. But I found their journey of like their relationship and stuff very fun to read about and very interesting to read about, and I felt like it was the way it happened was perfect for the two characters and like how close they was and for their friendship and transitioning into that and realizing that they are actually in love with each other and stuff. So I felt like it was perfectly. And then we have the Patreon Saint of Pigs, and this one is about Addie, but unfortunately I found Addie as a character so annoying throughout the book, and it just took the enjoyment away from the story because I could not stand the main character, and so that just ruined my enjoyment for the whole story. But throughout the story, it's about, basically, this is me hating on the book with the way I've put it, but basically about her whining about how she cheated on her perfect boyfriend and that he won't forgive her for it, which is obviously understandable, and she's very entitled about it because she's like, well, obviously I didn't mean to make out with another guy, but I mean, I'm sorry, but you can't just accidentally do something like that. I don't know, I felt like the whole situation, she was just very entitled about the whole thing, and it's kind of like, well, it's not my fault type attitude, and I just did not like that. And even though every single character in the story told her that what she did was awful, what was bad, just didn't get it, and every time someone told her that what she did was awful, she complained about them telling her that what she did was awful. I felt like she was kind of like, oh, but this is okay, that this is what I didn't mean to, he should forgive me, and that's just not the case. It's just not the case. Oh my gosh, she just annoyed me so much. I just did not like her as a character, as you can probably tell. But I felt like her story near the end wrapped up too nicely and too perfectly, because I didn't feel like she grew as a character, like she didn't develop as a character, and she didn't make any effort to put into having that perfect ending. I felt like it was kind of like it just fell on her lap type thing, and she didn't work for it, and there was no character development. You can tell she wouldn't improve. It's probably going to be one of those things where she probably does it again in the future type thing. Like she didn't learn from her lesson at all, and that's just the vibes it was given. But like I said, overall, out of all of them, the first book was my favourite. The last one, as you can tell, was my least favourite. If I had to rate that one 1 star, because the character was just so infuriating and annoying. I don't mean to be a hater. I hate hating, but that's my thoughts on that book. But that is the end of today's video. I read all 3 books that Snapchat AI chose for me, and I'll definitely say Let It Snow was my favourite and the more interesting one, more Christmassy one. I feel like Snapchat AI also chose amazingly for me because I had very high ratings for Polar Express and also Let It Snow. Unfortunately, the Christmas Carol I didn't get to rate because I just didn't understand it, but that's not like anyone's fault, it's mine for trying to listen to the audiobook when it is very old style of writing. But anyway, that is the end of today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I hope to see you all in my next video. Bye.